4,000 public job workers protest unpaid 20,000 wage. Beneficiaries tackle Minister NDEDG, giving the excuse that we are authenticating their BVN. So this is one of the programs that the federal government came out with, the special public works program to actually pay people who are not really having job, artisans, a 3-month salary, 20,000 per month. But for so far, they have not been paid, and they are protesting that. That is the problem. Some of the problem we have as a nation. Sam. Most time when we have policies like this, the actualization of them is really, really hard. If the government have brought something out like this, where is the money? Although the DG has come out to say we are authenticating their BVN. Before you give them the job or the slot, they gave you their BVNs and other information. So why now? Maybe somebody, I won't want to, I'm not sure. I stand to be corrected, but most times, most of those funds are kept to do other businesses to yield interest before.
That's Nigeria for you.
That's what.
Nevertheless.
So that is the major headline we have on the in the Nation newspaper this morning. And just beneath it, we have Okonjo-Iweala will drive global trade, says World Bank. It's coming from World Bank. Okonjo-Iweala has been told us that she's going to drive global trade, and she's up to the task. We trust her to do well in that regard. Oni seeks support for Olu of Warri. Oni seeks support for Olu of Warri. That is on page 7 of the Nation newspaper this morning. And also on page 5, we have 17 court suspects gone held. Suspects and guns held. 17 court suspects, guns held. That story is on page 5 if you are interested. And we have a story that starts from the front page and ends on page 6. And it says, Southeast governors launch a Bubeagwu security outfit. Southeast governors launch a Bubeagwu security outfit. That story starts from the front page and end on page 6. And on page 5 also, we have gunmen kill 2 in Ondo, adopt priest in Imo. It's a big one, talking about insecurity in the country. A lot of kidnapping going on here and there. And we thank God most time when we go out and we come back, we don't know what God has done for you, because it's not really, really secured anywhere. So these are stories that are going on. If you're interested in that story, you can go to page 5 of the Nation newspaper this morning. And on page 4, we have Sultan to Muslims, look out for moon. That is on page 4. And on page 7, Makinde Fayose factions battle for slots at PDP Congress. Makinde Fayose factions battle for slots at PDP Congress. That is on page 7 of the Nation newspaper. And NBA urges probe of military invasion in Benue. NBA urges probe of military invasion in Benue. Buhari must act now. That is still about insecurity. That story is on page 33 of the Nation newspaper. And on page 17 to 24, we normally have business-related stories on the Nation newspaper. And there's this story that says Nigeria needs 1.4 trillion to bridge telecoms access gap. Nigeria needs 1.4 trillion naira to bridge telecom access gap. Those stories on business on page 17 to 24. And still on page 7, 2.5 billion pounds debt. Petrol Union, CBN, UBN case resumes. The case has resumed starting from today, Monday, 12th of April. Case about the debt of 2.5 billion pounds started. And we have on Queen, coming from Queen Elizabeth, saying Philip's death left a huge void. The Prince the death of death of Prince Philip. The Queen Elizabeth have come out that death actually left a huge void in her. That story starts from the front page and end on page 6. And the picture story is of a toddler tossing his own bunch onto the onto the pile of flowers lining the gate of Windsor Castle yesterday, all in respect of the late Prince Philip. That is all I have from the Nation newspaper this morning. Dr. What do you have for us?
Yes, I have with me the Punch newspaper, and the headline news reads, Rising Deaths. DMO blames COVID-19. Experts say borrowing from CBN dangerous. You can read more of that story on page 29. US, UK, other countries borrowed more as a result of COVID-19, says DMO. Printing money will lead to hyperinflation, former CIIN Director General. We are not aware of printing of 60 billion, as Obaseki claimed, say CBN and federal government. Ohanaeze backed Southeast governors on security outfit against terrorists. You can read more of that story on page 14. Senate queries FMBN 3 billion contract, summons XMD on page 30. Why Aisha kept mum on Buhari's other room comment, biographer, page 40. Ramadan, look out for moon, Sultan tells Muslims on page 9. Ogun kidnappers in army camouflage flee on bike with 13-year-old boy, demand 50 million on page 14. Bad Belle stopped Abiola from becoming president, says Obasanjo. You can read more of that story on page 9. Electricity generation falls to 3,920 megawatts. 11 plants idle on page 30. NMA berates government. Security agents says kidnapping is disturbing. You can read more of that story on page 14. Petrol, Tokumbo, motorbikes, antibiotics, Nigeria's major imports, NBS, on page 50. And finally, firm backs federal government on plan to ban syringe importation. You can read more of that story on page 41. And that should be all from me.
Okay, Sam, what do you have for us?
All right, I am with the Nigerian Tribune. And the main headline, it's about PDP Southwest Congress. Makinde Fayose in final showdown at 7:43, delegates elect 22 officers. Then on the rider, we have 42 aspirants cleared. Autumn heads electoral committee. Oyo with 171 delegates, Osun 130, Ekiti 115, Ogun 114, Ondo 112, and Lagos 101. So you read all those on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. And let's go up, though you have read it, Jeff. It says, Southeast governor set up joint security outfit, codenamed Ebubeagu. That's on page 29. And on the same page 29, we have Matawale's attack on Southerners reckless and insensitive. That's by Gani Adams, the Yoruba group. Then we have Reps propose upward review of derivation fund from 13 to 20% on page 8. And look out for Ramadan moon today, Sultan tells Muslim, on page 8 also. And on the hijab crisis in Kwara, 10 Kwara schools resume classes today, on page 25. Then FG to meet striking judicial workers today. Jason says CJN can't meet demands. Serap asked RMA FC to cut salaries of Buhari, governors, lawmakers. That's an interesting news on page 24. ASUP rejects federal government's appointment of rectors for 5 new polytechnics. That's on page 8. And on page 30, we have gunmen attack police station in Cross River, cut away AK-47 rifle. That's quite sad. This is becoming more frequent. On page 25, IBB annulled June 12 presidential election due to bad belle. That's by Obasanjo. And on page 6, we have printing money to augment allocation poses threats to Nigeria's future. That's by experts. So that's all from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. But let me just quickly read what we have on the sidelines at the back of the Nigerian Tribune. Quite interesting. The sidelines, it reads, according to reports by Insider, a US-based media outlet, Americans are being lured by private business concerns with free beer money estimated at $7, that's about 3,000 naira, to motivate citizens to get COVID-19 vaccination. Who could ever predict that beer, of all drinks, will someday be used for antivirus promotion? That's quite paradoxical. So just imagine using beer for about $7 beer to encourage people to go out for vaccination against COVID-19, even though COVID-19 is very ravaging in the US. So what can we, bringing it down home to Nigeria, you know, attitudes of people towards this vaccine itself has been, it has swung from spiritual to conspiracy theories of trying to reduce population of the world and things like that. And a lot of people will tell you that, wow, I am not going to be vaccinated. So, but if they could, it's a good one when we have people who are being proactive in their thoughts, that, okay, people may not likely want to get vaccinated in the US. They say, okay, what can we use to encourage them towards this? And they decide to come up with, certain people coming up with about $7 beer. Come for it. Then if you get vaccinated, you get this beer. What can we do in Nigeria to encourage people? That's just a thought that is coming through my head.
Palliative.
Palliative, right?
Palliatives, okay. I think if they say 3,000 naira with a $7 equivalent to 3,000 naira, they say 3,000 naira. If you get vaccinated, you get 3,000 naira. We're selling our votes now for less than that, which is a bad one anyway. But if this is about vaccination and people see that I will get 3,000 naira, at least considerably will feed an individual for a day. Nigeria, considerably. One person, 3,000 naira for a day. So people would rather want to get that.
Some people will really think that if that such thing is done here and people take it, they normally feel maybe is the state of poverty we are in as a country. But a country, for instance, USA, that is doing this, I don't think the level of poverty is much like what we have here. So it's not totally about poverty now, but what we need to do at this time that we have this ravaging.
Looking at COVID-19 vaccination now, if you look at the rate of people that are going for that vaccination, there are people there are people of timber and caliber that they know that without that card, that certificate of vaccination, they will be deprived of certain things.
Like
just look at it.
Just
ask an average Nigerian and ask them that, have you been vaccinated? The question is, have you been? Okay, yes or no. Some of us have not been vaccinated. It's not exactly because we don't want to be, but a lot of them will say, I am not going to be vaccinated. So because what is in need for me? You know that Nigerian mentality of what is in need for me if I do this thing, even though it's to prevent the COVID-19, if I do it, what is in need for me is what is still keeping a lot of us. But if Nigerian government could be proactive and say that, what can we do to make this thing get down to the grassroots and let people see the need? Maybe if you create something that will cause a need for them to be vaccinated to reduce the spread, though it has gone down drastically in Nigeria, but we still need that vaccination.
But the question is, are these vaccines easily accessible?
That's another question.
That's a big question because, like you said, some of those people who are in high places,
Yes.
men of caliber, are those ones that are actually taking this vaccination because they can be deprived of a lot of
Yes,
things,
yes.
like even traveling out of
Yeah,
the country.
definitely.
Now, if a common man wants to get this vaccination, are they easily accessible?
Yes,
That's
they are.
another thing the government
They
needs
are.
to do. You can just walk into any hospital.
Yes,
and
yes.
get it.
The day
Yes.
my mother
Yes, you
got
can.
vaccinated, she just called me that I have been vaccinated.
you
I was
can.
like, wow, who are you to tell me that you
Yes.
have been vaccinated? She said she went to a place and she was given, and it was, I was like, okay, so we could have something like this.
Yes.
So it's readily, would I say readily available, but
Available,
looking at the community that we are in, a teeming community where we have a lot of people. So what we have there may not even be able to serve everybody. That's one thing. People that are busy at their place of work will like a situation where you walk into a place and you get what you want within 10, 15 minutes. Not a case of a whole day, like the NIN issue of those times when you want to get
so far so good. We've not had cases or heard from anyone who said when he or she gets to the place, he or she could not be vaccinated because it's not available.
Well, maybe.
If you are not,
the
it's
time
probably
will come.
because maybe there is.
Yes, the time will come. Maybe
yes, I
when they
want
begin to
believe.
make some form of enforcement,
Yes.
you will now see that
Exactly.
all of us
All
will
of
go there
at
together.
once.
But that's the
That's where
Nigerian
the-
mentality which we should try
You are
as much
right.
as possible to dispel.
You
When
are
they say
right.
this is very important for you to get, let us get it in good time.
In good time.
Not until the time that we block your SIM. before
Before
you
you know that you have to go and register yourself. Yeah, it's true. So we need to be proactive and try to get these vaccines if you are in a place to get them. And the measure taken there, I think we can take it here too.
Yeah, yes.
Not for the bear, but for
Yes.
the money.
Yes, the money will really
And again, the government needs to come out and give some information, certain information on this vaccine, because like some people are still asking the question that, okay, after, what's the essence of the vaccination that even after it, you still go about with your nose mask. You know, to so many people's belief is that after the vaccination, then there's no need for us to start to still be covering your nose and all of that. That means you are kind of free from contracting the disease. So I think there are still some things that the government needs to come out and clarify. Those are the things, bringing this fear.
Okay.
It's not that some do not want to, but
That's still not clear.
So we still talk about this vaccination some other time. Hopefully we have somebody who lead us through that. But we encourage you, if you are in a position to get to be vaccinated, you just have to take it. It's for your own good and it's for the good of everybody around you. At this time, we are done with what the papers are saying. We want to go to the wise man, the old wise man, Pastor Solomon, to tell us what he's saying too, and it will be good for us to know what he has for us. After which we'll be back and the discussion will continue. Go nowhere and enjoy.
My people, how are you? It's been a while. Yeah, Yoruba people will say, "Ẹ kú ọjọ́ mẹ́ta." All my children, how are you? I know you have missed Pastor Solomon. This is me. You see, I thank God for sparing our life. You see, how was the Easter? I hope you enjoyed the Easter break and Easter mini. Because I enjoyed the Easter, all my children, they brought good things for me in my village. And I thank God. So how are you? You see, I want to apologize for not becoming up as usual. It was due to some things that is beyond Pastor Solomon's power. You see, don't forget the Bible is still my watchword. The Bible is my watchword, and I want you to use the Bible as your watchword. You see? And the word I have for you today, the word of wisdom, for today's duty, for today's work, is that be slow in choosing, but slower in changing. Be slow in choosing, but slower in changing. You see, I know you don't understand. What I'm trying to say is that before you make any decision, be slow. Before you choose that thing, be slow. Before you choose a friend, be slow in choosing a friend. You see, even before you choose a life partner, be slow in choosing such a person. And after you must have chosen that thing, after you must have chosen that person, take your time, stick to that thing for a long time. You see, before you be thinking of changing, be slow in choosing, but slower in changing. You see, it is not easy to change. What it will cost you to choose is lesser than what it will cost you to change. You see, some people, they built a house with 500,000 naira. But when they demolish the house to rebuild, you cannot use 500,000 to rebuild again. You see, be slow in choosing, but slower in changing. That is the word of wisdom that I have for you today, Monday, and I believe it's going to do you good. That decision you're about to take in your office, think about it very well. Think about it. You see, before you got that job, you know what it took you to get the job. Now you want to change. Have you found another job? Have you? You see, whatever decision you want to make, think about it very well. Because once you have decided, you have to stick to it. You see? So be slow in choosing, but slower in changing. That is the word of wisdom I have for you today, Monday. My children, God bless you. And don't forget, the Bible is my watchword. Join me tomorrow again as I will be bringing to you another word of wisdom. I remain Pastor Solomon. Bye.
Pastor Solomon there this morning. He just puts so much smile on my face when he gives us those words of wisdom. And today I said that be slow in choosing, but slower in changing. Wow, thank you very much for that one. And if you are just joining us, this is Morning Delight on Glorious Vision Television, a breakfast show that we have on this station every day from Mondays to Fridays. Thank you for joining us. Now, before we go into the discussion for today, we have a wonderful, a new face, but not new to us here, but new to the viewers at home. A very beautiful woman that I know and honor very well. I am so happy. I wish I can get, I don't know where my shekere is. I need to use shekere for her and bring her into the family, Morning Delight family. We need to use that shekere.
Apostolic greeting.
Or we should give her apostolic
greeting.
7 hallelujahs. Yeah. So we have with us this morning Abiodun Oyekunle, and she's joining us for the first time. And you'll be seeing her face regularly.
She's not a guest.
No, she's not a guest.
Let us clear that.
No,
she's not a guest.
She's part of
going
us.
to be
she's
part
one of us. And
yes.
she's a presenter. She'll be one of us on this program. And she's family like we are. She's our new crew. It's nice having you with us this morning. Like Sam said, maybe we should sing a song for you. You are welcome in the name of the Lord.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome in the name of the Lord. We can see all over
obviously
the
glory of the Lord.
You are welcome in the name of
the Lord.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here. and I appreciate God for the opportunity He has given unto me.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
That is what our fathers and mothers, when they introduce them, that is what they say.
Yes, now.
That
She's
is
apostolic.
She's apostolic to the core, so
Yes.
you know what to say at the right time. We'll give you your 3 hallelujahs later.
Yes.
At the end of the show, that's when we give you your 3 hallelujahs.
Thank you very much.
It's
Wow.
nice having you. Okay, this morning we have a topic that we just want to quickly discuss. We use our little expertise because in the house here we have people who are experts in different fields, and today we have an expert with us too. He's one of us, she's one of us, he's one of us, and we'll be talking on the topic signs of a toxic relationship. Signs of a toxic relationship. We are still here. Tokwe is here. Sam is here. Abiodun is here, and of course, Short Black Dude is here. So, we have experts. Tokwe is an expert in that field. She has, in case you have not seen that program, she has a program.
Who wouldn't have seen that?
Okay.
Who wouldn't have? But in case.
Maybe you are just
maybe-
tuning in for the
let's
first
just-
time to Glorious Vision Television. There's this program before you say I do. She, the anchor of that program, and she gives advices for relationship before you get married. Even when you are married, she's still here for you to get those advice from her. So this morning we are talking about signs of a toxic relationship. Now, we know relationship is a broad thing. It cannot. It's not just about male and female. It can be between leaders and the led, workers, and even friends. It's all relationship. Now, Sam, let me start from you before I go to Tokwe. If you had to briefly sum up what relationship entails, what will you say?
Okay, a relationship, it has to do with the coming together of two people for either a purpose or it could be accidental, because you could relate. You know, when we talk about relating, how you relate with somebody, it could be a formal relation, it could be an informal relation. So when you come together and you relate one to another, so you are establishing a form of relationship. It could be casual, it could be official, it could be platonic, and it could be romantic. So any coming together, either on a casual basis, you get to the office, you meet with see yourselves and you talk. That's a casual relationship, just talking. So it will get a little lower or it could get a little deeper. That's when you get a platonic relationship. You single people out as friends. You have casual relationship, could be a colleague. So you could now, from group of colleagues, you could single out people into being friends or close friends. You have a platonic relationship. From that level, you can now go a little deeper and get somebody out where you could have a romantic relationship with. So when people come together and they relate, so a relationship in whatever form or level has started.
Okay, that is a good one, but we're talking about being when it becomes toxic now.
Yeah.
And I believe when it's not profitable and it's not being fulfilling, that is when it becomes toxic.
Yeah.
Now, and we cannot shy away from the fact that there are always signs, unless we just tend to overlook those signs when something is not fulfilling anymore, when something is not profiting anymore, and you are not getting the fulfillment from it. Tokwe, for you, you are an expert when it comes to relationships, especially when it comes to man and woman relationship. For you, what are some of the signs people should look at? Let's talk about that male-female relationship before we even come out to talk about when in the workplace and friendship. What are some of the signs people should look out for? And why is it that when people even see these signs, sometimes they just tend to overlook it, that things will get better?
Okay. Toxic. Let's say toxic is an unhealthy relationship. It's a relationship that does not. Let me make it in a layman definition so that everybody can relate with it. It's a relationship that does not give you peace, that you are not comfortable with, that you are not enjoying, you are not at ease with yourself in that kind of relationship. Relationship is meant to make you happy, to make you fulfill, like you said. But when you are in this kind of relationship, you keep having that sign that you are not happy, all is not well, something is wrong, why am I feeling this way? Now, some of the signs that we can look out for in a toxic relationship is one, a toxic relationship is always controlling. The person involved wants to control you, wants to know what you are doing at a particular time. Where are you? Who are you with? You know, that kind of a monitoring spirit, like people will always say, want to know. It's like with a toxic partner, you don't have a life of your own. You don't have a life of your own. The person is always out for you. You can hardly breathe. You can hardly take decisions for yourself. When we are talking about toxic, then in a toxic relationship, another thing that happens is that it's all about taking and taking. Relationship is supposed to be mutual. It's supposed to be give and take. But when you are in a toxic relationship, you see that you are only the one making all the efforts. You always want to make sure that the relationship works out. You always want to compromise when things are not wrong. Instead for both of you to sit and agree on a particular thing, so you see that you are always the one that wants to compromise. The other party is not ready to compromise. Then he doesn't take no. He or she doesn't take no for an answer. It's what he or she wants to do that he or she wants to do. You cannot stop them. When they're out to get something, they will definitely get, without considering the partner, how the partner will feel about it. Taking your time, like you want to do something, like a toxic partner wants to do something, and you are not interested. Maybe I want to go out, and you feel that I want to stay out. I just feel like staying at home today. I have things I want to do. A toxic partner will want to force you out of your own comfortability. We want you to do things against your own wish. So when you see that you're always doing things to please your partner most of the time, constantly, then you are in a toxic relationship. You are in a toxic. So another thing that you should look out for when we are talking about toxic relationship is the issue of communication. When you are communicating, the person is either yelling at you when you talk. They don't want to listen to you. They are always shouting. They are always yelling. They don't want you to talk. When you are in the midst of people, you see them shouting you down. They don't want you to communicate. There is no communication. Things are normally that you are supposed to sit down as partners and discuss. You see the other partner always shouting at you, always criticizing you. With them, you hardly do anything right. They are perfectionists. They want you to do things in a perfect way. Yes, in a perfect way. Anything you do, I don't know if you understand. If you have been in that kind of relationship, you see they keep complaining about everything.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
On the first subject she talked about.
Okay.
But before I come back to you, now if you are just watching, you are free to call in. You see a number on the screen. Feel free to call in to tell us what you think, your thoughts on the topic, or your thoughts on the program generally, how you see us, and what you feel about the topic we are discussing today, signs of a toxic relationship. Yeah, so you said something that in a toxic relationship, the number one thing you said was when a partner does not want to have a life of your own, always controlling, want to call and want to be there all the time and everything. But there's a school of thought that says when you love something, you guide it jealously, you have to always, now two have become one. So there's nothing like too much of us having a life of your own. It's no more a life of your own, it's a life of our own. What's your reaction to that?
Okay, like we always like to say to our singles, I know you are going to ask me, I know somebody is going to take me up on that, yes. But the truth of the matter is that because you met someone or because you are in a relationship with someone does not mean that you should lose a life of your own. Does not mean that you should not have a time of privacy or a time to yourself. There are times that you want to be all alone by yourself. There are times that you want to do some certain things for yourself that it's not like a secret, so it's not something that is saying, but there are times that you just want to be tokpe. You don't want this other person to disturb you. Now, there's something again we always say again, that too much of everything is bad. When something becomes an extreme, like this jealous of a thing, and some people believe that in some places, some people believe that jealousy is normal. Yes, it's good because when you love something, you have to be jealous of that thing. But when it now becomes an extreme, to the extent that you are ready to kill your partner, to the extent that people around your partner, you don't want to see them or things like that. So to your question, when it is too much, like I just told you, assuming we are married or we are still on the way to marriage, and I told you that I want to go and see my mother, and I'm in my mother's place. You don't expect me to be in my mother's place, and you keep calling me, disturbing me. It's my mother. We have some things that we want to discuss. So when I now get there, you now asking me, are you still there? What are you still doing? When are you coming?
I can really relate. I know if we didn't talk about to talk, she was going to talk much on
Yes,
that. Okay,
definitely.
for you, Biodun, we were talking about signs of a toxic relationship. What's your reaction to that, the topic we have now, and what are some of those signs you feel that we should look at for, even not just about we're talking about female or male relationship as friends in the workplace. What are some of those things we should look at for?
Well, we should look out for dishonesty. In a toxic relationship, there's always dishonesty in everything. You will see in the traits of the person. The person will not be plain, or the person will not be honest, the person will not be trustworthy. The person will be doing some things in a corner way so that you'll not be able to get it, or it may be plain to you, you may think the person is plain to you, but maybe at your back, the person is always going back and front to just spoil your own attitude or spoil your own personality in front of other people. So dishonesty is part of it. Also, jealousy. Extreme jealousy is very, very worse in any relationship, because some people, normally you should be jealous of whatever you have, as Tokwe has said. But extreme jealousy, some people, their jealousy is very high to the extent that they can kill anybody if anybody is coming in front of that thing they want to achieve. So they can undo, and then they can do. Because in their relationship with somebody, any small thing, especially in man and women relationship, some people are very jealous because anywhere they will be checking their wife's phone, their husband's phone, just to know the details, any message, anything, any small thing, they will have taken it up, and they will give the person problem. And the other person may not even think it. In some cases now, if you are chatting with some people does not mind using dear for some people, dear. Some other partner may take it up and say that dear, that means you have something that you are having with the person. How can you address another person with dear? Me, I'm supposed to be your dear. As different kind of things like that. And also lack of respect. In a toxic relationship, you start to see different, the respect that you have for each other. Maybe when you are just coming up, you see that there will be lack of respect. Even when the person is talking, you just see what is this saying. You should just mind this. Just say what you want to say and just go away. Let me just be on my own. So there will be lack of respect in everything in what they are doing. And distrust, they will not even trust each other. Though they may feel that they trust each other when you see themselves, but at their different backs, they don't trust each other, and that is part of the signs of toxic relationship.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll be talking about, we have so much talked about the relationship from this male-female angle leading to marriage and marriage courtship. Now, let's take a look at it from friendship angle. Sam, you know, there's this feeling when we say, okay, you have a friend and he does something that you are not cool with, and it's a character of his that you feel is toxic. Now, sometimes we say, nah, in way, that's how he behaves. Let me just overlook it. I'll cope with that. Is that a right way to handle a sign or signs of toxic relationship when it has to do with friendship, even in the workplace? Is it a fair way to deal with issues like that?
Well, the truth of the matter is that as much as one thing, it's good when you are able to identify an individual's toxicity. So if you know that this person, from this angle, he has a kind of, he acts in a way that does not enrich this relationship. And when we talk about relationship, what makes it toxic is that I do not derive the right value from engaging with this person. So deriving the right value in the sense that this person does not ensure my self-development. Like they have said, it does not encourage my independence, my individuality. So if I see that there are things you will do, as we relate as colleagues, there are things you will do, I will just look, which may not go down well with me, I look away from it and say, okay, that's just one of the things, the slips that we can have in our characters and behavior. But depending on the level of the depth of the relationship and also the frequency of what you do, like if we call ourselves friends or colleagues, and I discover that from the way we relate, you keep backstabbing me, and what you say about me in the back has not been healthy, would always affect the way people relate with me, painting me in a bad way. So sometimes what happens when it comes to friendship relationship is when you see people begin to detach or dissociate from such a person, because I know that as much as I get closer to you and I see some element of that toxicity in what you are relating with me, it will hurt me more if I am closer to you. But if I am far away, it's more like if a madman should call you mad, you are mad, you just look and be going. Or if somebody on the road just calls you. But if your wife calls you mad, you know that it is because of the level of closeness that makes it painful the more. So, but if I dissociate from this person, that's his way. I try to dissociate from the way we relate with the person. So whatever he says, I know it for him. That's a way of handling that relationship. It is easier to handle when it comes to a colleague than to handle when it comes to a romantic relationship. It is more difficult to handle when it is romantic. That's where a lot of people will have problems. I can just say I am not talking to you in the office, we go formal, we go official. That's
when we talk about friendship now, you have a friend and you call the friend, this word bestie and the rest. How do you tend to?
The best way to handle such is to talk about it. You raise it. What you have done. You know, somebody, like I say, there could be a slip in behavior. That is SLIP. That's a wrong thing that the person did not plan for. You forgive that. That could happen to anybody at any point in time. But when you see the consistency and the frequency of this is the way this person does, you raise it to this person. Sometimes you just say that I don't think I can relate with you on that level.
What about a friend that always think that everything that he does or she does is always right? And there's no way you can change, even if you talk, or she will always stand on her own that what she has done is right. Why will you handle such situations? If
what she's doing, you know, this is a relationship. If what she's doing on her own, if it is what she's doing to herself or to any other person, that's her own way of doing it. But if it is what she's doing to me, that's where the relationship is being affected. It is what we will talk about. I will raise it to you. What you have done, this is what you have done. And I don't think I will continue to condone this kind of attitude. I would like you to change or adjust this way. Communication, discussing on that certain issue most times help. And when the person refuses to change, that is when you need to see whether you have to detach yourself from the person. To say I am no longer friends with somebody doesn't mean that I have sinned. It doesn't mean that it is not everybody that will be your friend. Some people, you could mistakenly pick up a friendship. And at some point, you realize that this friendship does not pay me. There is the symbiotic relationship. There is the parasitic one. For example, you engage with somebody and you discover this person always comes to me. Call me friends, best of friend when he or she needs something. So you understand, this is only this, why this thing. You try to detach yourself from that person. So it will help if you talk about it first and you find a way to avoid that continued relationship.
Okay, that is a good one. For me, like Tokwe said, the highlight for a toxic relation when it comes to romantic relationship is the fact that this partner has this domineering spirit that you want to know everything, and not that it's bad to know everything, but try to control you and everything. You don't have a life of your own. It's demoralizing. It makes the whole relationship get out of here. And for me also, when you talk about friendship, if the person is that does not have support, lack of support. When you have a friend that when you go to him and you are telling him that this is what you want to do, this is what you want to do, he doesn't pay attention to it. But when you want to have fun, you only pay attention to fun, then I know that side. Or
you find a relation where your friend is hiding opportunities away from you. Doesn't want you to develop or improve. Consciously hiding it from you. You know that this person is not somebody that will help me. Okay. So it's toxic.
And it's also happened in relationships too. That
yes.
we are actually out of time. I wanted to stick with you. There's this issue. People are in toxic relationship, romantic relationship, and they don't want to get out of it.
Okay.
Why? What is always holding them? And for you, what's your advice? Do
Okay,
they
number
walk out
one,
or do you stay?
Fear of loneliness. They feel that if they should leave, they will be lonely. Then another one is investment, where you begin to think that I've invested a lot of things in this relationship, my time, my money, my love, my care, everything you can think of. And again, the fact that you begin to realize that, oh, this relationship has been very long. Maybe you've been in that relationship for 5 years, and now somebody is now talking you out, or it has now come to a point that you feel you can no longer go forward, you want to walk away. It becomes very difficult. Then another thing again is that when you have so much falling in love, especially this romantic love of a thing, you know, a lot of things must have been involved that has made both of you to have this kind of soul tie. So it becomes very, very difficult at that point for you to detach. Then when you look at your age again, that I'm overage, where will I start from at this age now to now leave this person and begin to start all over again? Who will now be, where we now see somebody again, they will now start the new relationship. So all these things will make people to want to, when they look at all of these things, they don't want to get out. But I just want to let you know that the best thing you can do is that once it gets to that point, don't be scared to walk away. You can always walk away. When it gets to that point that you feel that it's going to affect your future, please walk away. Then again, another thing is that for Christians, we advise that you continue to pray for that person and don't have this mindset that you can fix it or you can change that situation. The more you continue to think that you can fix or change, the more you continue to stay.
All right.
In that relationship.
Sorry, I have to hold you on that because of our time. I want to appreciate you guys for joining me today on the show. Abiodun, thank you for joining us. Tope and Sam, thank you very much for joining us. This is how far we can go on the program today. To the viewers at home, I want to really appreciate you for joining us. Now that you have seen us, that we're back, I want you to tell a friend, that friend will tell another friend that Morning Delight is back and better. By the grace of God, tomorrow 9 a.m. we'll do this again. And until then, like I always say, God loves you, and so do we. Bye for now.